Hello everyone, welcome to RollNL. My name is Seregras, but you can call me IsmaGM. I know it's easier. I'm here again to talk about Sandbox, which is a system that I've developed, coded for Foundry VTT. Foundry. As you probably know from the previous video, which you can find on the description of this video, down here. This module is intended to serve you to generate any rule system without the need of coding anything on JavaScript. So if you want to play your favorite RPG games, and you don't want to wait for anyone else to code them, you can do them by yourself with Sandbox. Okay, so when will we release it? So as we said in the previous video, we'll release it as soon as we hit 100 subscribers on Twitch, on this channel, twitch.tv/rollnl. And the profits from all those 100 subscriptions, this is something that I forgot to mention in the previous video, will go to a charity, a Spanish charity called Ayudar Jugando, which means helping by playing, and their aim is to provide RPG games and board games to children in need. So how are we doing with our objective of 100 subs? We're doing great. We're 15 subscribers away, so we're right now 85. So let's hope that we can release this system as soon as possible, so we can all enjoy it and benefit from it and improve it. Well, I have to warn you, because as soon as I'll release it, you're all guys going to hate me a lot, because I'm not a professional coder or anything, and my comments are really bad, and my structure probably is not what you hoped for. But let's see if between us, between all of the community, we can improve it. So what am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about something that you guys have asked me a lot recently, which is about automation. So I've received a lot of comments saying, hey, Sandbox is cool, it's very nice, but is it just for structuring a character sheet or to develop a character sheet? No, it also has automation and has brings you the ability to automate your rules. How's that? Let's see a little example. So as with the previous video, what we're going to do is to develop a character sheet. We're going to call it OSR PC. This is going to be a template. So this is what we need to develop our character sheet, and we're going to build a simple OSR. Okay. So for that, we need a tab and a number of panels and a number of properties. So let's go with a tab. We're going to create a tab, which is going to be called stats. Yep. So the title is going to be stats, and it's going to appear here at the top of the character sheet. We need a unique key for every element. Stats tab. And we're going to add some panels. The first panel we're going to add is going to be, how can we call this? General. Yeah, general panel. Yeah, something like that. In this panel, we're going to create a number. Oh, wait a second. We need a key. General panel. We're not going to introduce a title. The width is going to be the full width, and in this case is a minimum of 600 pixels. We're going to include four properties, and they're going to be, let's say, level property, which is a simple numeric, and LVL, simple numeric. Tag level can't be editable by the players, default value is 1, and all that is normal. Yeah, we're going to create another property which is going to be race, and this one is going to be a table. I'm going to explain you now why. It's not editable, it doesn't have a header, we don't need to see the units. Okay, this is fine. And we're going to duplicate this to create class. Sorry if I'm moving very fast, but the intention of this video is to show you automation, not character sheet building, which we saw in the previous video. Class. And the final property is going to be background. This one is just going to be simple text. Background, editable by the player. Okay, fantastic. So this for property, I made a mistake. These ones have to go here. Sorry. Yeah, okay. So we introduce race, class, background, and level. And let's reorder, sort them. We want to see first level, then race, then class, then background. Fantastic. Okay, as I explained on the last video. So every time we create a table, we need a group, because tables, they represent all the compendium items inside the character sheet that belong to a specific group. So we need to create a group for race. We're going to create the group race. This group is going to be unique, which means that a character sheet can only have one item of the group race, and the key is race group. Race is going to have it can have specific properties, but for the sake of simplicity in this example, I'm not going to include any right now. Yeah, okay, so we have already race. So now that we created a group for race, in our table that we created, we drag the group here, drop here, and this element in the character sheet is going to be a small table. As the group is unique, it's only going to have one cell in this table. Now you'll see it as soon as I run it. Class, we're going to do something very similar with class. It's also going to be a group. It's also going to be unique, but in this case we're going to create a property for the group. So all the elements of all the compendium elements of the group class are going to share the same properties. One of them is going to be hit dice. So this property hit die singular. Yeah, this is better. Yeah, this is going to be a list. Yeah, hit die. The options are going to be 1d4, 1d6, 1d8, and we drag it here. So we have created the class group, which has the property hit die and is constant, which means that every element of a specific class is going to have the same hit die. Let's create one as an example. Here in C items, we're going to create a folder called classes, and in here we're going to create a C item. It's going to be called fighter. Fighter is an element of the group class. Okay, so let's drag it. Class. Here you have it. Now, when I click on attributes, you see that it generates the hit die attribute. So if we choose 1d8, every character that has this C item, the fighter C item, is going to have the hit die set at 1d8. Okay? Alright, nothing else for now. So what was left? Oh yeah, for the class table property, we need to also drag our group here. That's it. And let's create a race. We create a folder, races. We're going to create another C item, which is going to be called human. We're not going to introduce any description or anything. We drag the race and here we are. Okay, fantastic. So we have our first row of our character sheet more or less defined. So now we just have to add it to the tab that we want in our template. So this is a general panel with all this. So we need to drag general panel to the stats tab and consequently drag the stats tab into the tabs tab of the character template. Okay, might be a little bit confusing. I'm very sorry, but you have the link of the previous video and the description of this video, so you can check it and understand a little bit more of this. Okay, as always, we rebuild the sheet. We press F5 and let's create a new. Oh, this is a template, so we must include it there. Okay, let's create an actor. Test PC. We choose OSR PC and you see instantly stats is created and we have some things here, very strange things here. I forgot about something and something very important. So we have level, we created level. Yeah, we have here, this is race, this is class, and this is background. So we didn't add a label to class and we didn't do the same for race. So let's add some labels so we can see this thing properly. So I'm going to create race label as a property. It's going to be a label fit. No, it's going to be small. No, fit. Yeah. The key is race label. Tag is race, and that's it. And I'm going to duplicate this and class label. Class label. Class. So we need to change our panel, but as we're going to introduce two elements, we need here 6 columns. And we're going to add the race label and the class label. We have to locate them in the right, put them in the on the right position. Race label race, and then class label class. Okay, so let's check now. We have to rebuild the sheet. F5. Now it looks better. So as you can see, this is our first row of our character, and it looks great. Well, I know that we have to improve a lot the CSS and the styling, but it's something that my intention is to do that in the future once everything is fully functional. So I hope you guys help me when this is released. We can include as many styles, and it must look very good. Okay, so now we can change the level 2, 3, 1, background, I don't know, X soldier or whatever. But as you can see, we can't click on race or class. Why? Because they're tables and they are unique tables. That's why we only have one cell there. They are tables, so they belong to a group. So they will only get filled if this character has a C item or a compendium item of these two groups. So let's open the compendium, C item, races. So if I drag human, boom, it appears here. And I can even click it, it will display on another window. Well, if we had any description or something here, it will appear too. And let's do the same with fighter, boom. And this is wrong. Why? By default, every table shows all the attributes of a group. As we know, the class group has only one attribute, which is hit die, but we only want to show names in this table. So let's rebuild again this F5. We should have done the same with the race one, but well, too late. And here you have it. Now the class table only shows the name of the element. Fantastic. Okay, now let's continue with the attributes. Yeah, so we need a new panel, and this panel is going to be, let's say, a third. Yeah, attributes. A third. We're going to need two columns, attributes panel, attributes, left alignment, and properties. Okay, let's create some properties. First one, strength. This is obvious, a simple numeric. Rip. Strength as a key. No tag because it has no label. You understand why I do this. Not editable by the player. And fantastic. Now we create another property called str. This is also numeric. Str as key. Str as tag, not editable. And this, what was the formula for the OSR? Wait. It was -10 divided by 2, wasn't it? -10. So this would be strength -10 divided by 2. But I think this is a seal. Or no, floor, sorry. Floor. Think that's it. Okay. So we already have our two properties for the attributes panel. We need to add the attributes panel to this tab. Don't like this name. Let's be a little bit consistent. Attributes panel. Okay. So we drag attribute. Well, not consistent. We should rename this one, but okay. Let's then rebuild this. F5. Let's delete this because this one needs a new character, test PC2. And here we have, oh, it's too wide. Oh, we didn't include a default value. We should include one. 10 for strength. Yeah, that will be good. And I think we should reduce this width. Yeah, let's go for that. So the attributes panel is going to have 1/4, I think. Yeah, or less than that. 1/4 would be enough. Yeah, let's try. Okay, we'll remove this one. We'll rebuild. And we create test PC3. Now here we are. 1.6 would have been better, but let's leave it like this for now, because I already spent 20 minutes and I need to explain something very important. So let me create 2 more properties so I can start explaining about the automation. All this to this for yes, spent a lot of time on this. Okay, we duplicate. Okay, fine. So dexterity, okay, and dex, and dexterity. Fine. Okay, and let's go with okay, just a sec. We need an extra panel. Oh, I should have created this for the example. Other. Yeah, other. Let's create other. This one also 1/4. 1 column. Other panel. Other properties. I'm going to create. Hey, what happened here? Huh? Okay. No. HD. It died. Keys HD. Tag HD. It's a simple numeric. No, not a simple numeric. It's a simple text. No, it's a list, as we said before. 4, 1d6, 1d8. You'll understand in a minute. Non-editable. And finally, HP. Simple numeric HP, and that's it. This must have a maximum value, let's say 10 or whatever. Yeah, I'm just going to introduce this so you can see what's the difference between simple numeric properties and max simple numeric properties. So HD, HP, and we introduce inside stats the other. And attribute panels, we need to include dexterity and dex. Okay, so I guess that with this we'll have a basic character sheet so that we can use for my example of automation. Delete test PC4. No, not bad. Okay, so 25 minutes for that. Now, automation, how does it work? Okay, so basically the automation is based on C items. So every time we include C items or we drag C items into a character, we can force a number of changes. These changes are called modifiers or mods. So, for example, let's talk race. Let's talk about the human. So, let's assume that, this is just an example, okay, that in this rule set, in this system, being human increases your strength by 1. Okay, so in the mods tab is where all the magic happens in terms of C items, and it's where we modify stuff in our system. We have 3 types of C items depending on the type of modifying that they execute, they perform. Passive, activation, or consumable. Passive, these are traits, or this means that the modification of the C item is always active. Activation, this means that the C item will have a checkbox close to it, so its modifications will only activate when we click on that checkbox. Examples of these are armor. Armor will only give you its AC modifier if you click on the checkbox. And finally, consumable. It means that it will only activate if you click a button that is going to be on the side of the C item. And of course, it can be rechargeable, it could be permanent, the change. For example, the healing potions. We're going to prepare an example for that, but let's start with passive, because being human is passive, is a passive trait. We're going to add a modifier. You can add as many modifiers you want for the compendium item, for as many compendium items you need. So this modifier will be called +1 strength. There are 4 types of modifier: add, set, item, and roll. The add modifier will add a value to a specific attribute. In this case, will be strength. We're going to add 1. You also have a conditional row that will guarantee that this modifier only gets executed if the condition is true. Condition could be, I don't know, the level might be equal, higher, or than a specific value, etc. Don't have time to explain that now, but that works too. Okay, let's try this. So right now, if we dragged human into our character, strength, which is 10, should get increased. And yes, it does. Now we have strength 11. And it looks green because we have a C item that is improving that attribute. Great, huh? Okay. So next type of modifier, set. So as you can imagine, this modifier sets a property. So obviously, in this case, a class will set the hit die into this value. So hit die. This is just a description, huh? This field here. Okay. So what does this do? So HD is going to get its value set to okay. So this first character, this vertical slash, means that this is a specific role notation for Sandbox, okay? Aside from the one from Foundry. It means that every role expression that it encounters is not going to roll it. So for example, if I write right now 1d6, it's not going to roll it. But if I didn't include that slash, vertical slash, it will roll it, and it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and it would change every time. So this way we guarantee that the roll expressions that we see won't get rolled. Okay, so this hash plus these strange keys, it means that it references an attribute of the C item. Okay, so we have to reference this key. So what is it that we're doing? So it means that when we drag fighter into the character sheet, the HD attribute, which is this one, is going to have its value set to the hit die value of the attribute of the C item, which in this case is 1d8. Let's see. And here we see. So as you can see, it's also green because it's been modified, increased by a C item. And this is 1d8 now. As you can see, if I try to change it, it doesn't work because we still have this C item that it makes sure that the hit die is always going to be 1d8. Okay, so let's go for the next example. How can I? Because we'll need. Okay. Let me create a new panel. This panel is going to be called traits. Okay. It's going to be a half a column traits panel traits traits, and we need to create a table for the traits. Let me change this name to panel traits property. This is a table, non-editable, doesn't have a header, no units, item names yes, trait, why? Dyslexic, my god. And we need to create a group which is going to be called traits. Not unique. We drag into this the trait, we drag the traits property table into traits panel, and we drag the traits panel into the tab. Okay, so let's rebuild this thing. Oh my god, I should have created all this before explaining. Test PC 5, the revenge of the test PC. Okay, now here we have. Now, C items, let me create a folder called traits. Fantastic. Okay, now let's imagine that not only the human race gives us this modifier, the strength. It also gives us a trait. Okay, let's include a new modifier and go to the third type of modifier that we can have, the item. So it means that the item, it adds a number of C items to the character sheet. So we can call this human traits. So we have two possibilities. If we include 0, it will include all the items that we drag onto here. If we include a number, we will have to choose, the player will have to choose between a number of items. For example, I use this in D&D when there are a number of traits that are selectable by level. For example, I don't know, the Bard School, for example, at level 3. So you would include here the two types of schools, include hero 1, and the player, as soon as he reaches level 3, would have an alarm here telling him that he has to choose between those two schools. Okay, but for this example, we'll include 0, and we're going to include create a trait which is going to be called, I don't know, polyvalent, for example. This is a trait, and I don't know, humans can choose any past profession, for example, something like that. I don't know, this is just an example. Okay, so we include this, we drag this here. Okay, so let's drag the human race onto the character sheet, and you'll see, boom, that our two modifiers on the human race are applying. First, it increases our strength to 11, and it adds the trait polyvalent. Okay, so finally, because we have to finish this, oh my god, 35 minutes, finally we have one last type of modifier. But before I explain this to you, we need to create a role. Let's create a role for this, for strength. This is rollable. The role name is strength. The ID, this is very important, it's going to be strength. Formula 1d20 plus str. No, sorry. Every time we reference an attribute, a character attribute, we need to include at and str, like Roll20. Haven't been very original in that. Okay, all right. So let's see if it works. Well, it won't work because we need to rebuild the character sheet. Sorry. Finally, let's see. As you can see here, we can hover on it and the cursor changes. Boom, 12, and we roll 12 because our strength modifier is 0. Okay, all right. So now, last modifier. The last modifier is, and I'm going to change this. Imagine that we have an effect or a trait that the character just got because of an object or whatever. It's going to be called strength bonus. This is the item. Yeah, and this is a trait, and this one adds +2 to any strength roll. Okay, so of course we need to include this modifier, adds +2 to strength rolls. This is role type. The role ID is strength, which has to be the same one than here in the rollable, in the role area, this role ID. Yeah, so what does this mean? That every time a roll of the ID strength is rolled on this character, it's going to add 2. Let's check this. Bonus. So as I explained, as soon as I roll strength, you see we have a +2 from strength bonus modifier. I don't have much more time to talk to you about passive activation or consumable. Yeah, so we leave it like this. So thank you very much. If you want to support this, please subscribe into the channel, and as soon as we hit 100, this will be for you. See ya.